Soleannen is the worship of the god Solaris. He is the creator god of the Nieden player race of Rathnir, as well as the god of fire, passion, and refined emotion. And for a long time, he was trapped in the sun. Solaris is worshipped alongside his moon water goddess wife Sylene, as well as 6 lesser god aspects, a bunch of saints, and ancestor spirits. This faith is inseparable from the ancient Escharian Empire. You can see this in one important story to the faith. In the early Escharian Empire, the town Pax Romana rebelled and killed the Emperor's envoys. Well, as the Escharians marched on their fort, the rebel players started flying and speed glitching, and they were swiftly wiped from Rathnir entirely. Solaris himself is then said to have descended on the town and smashed it, flattening the entire area. On top of it, the Escharians built this monument to the divine intervention. Now, a town or nation could convert to Soleannen to earn the sympathy or protection of the Escharian Empire. And since this was the largest empire on the entire server, or even in Minecraft history probably, the faith spread far and wide in response to various threats. This map shows where Soleannen is documented as having existed at one time or another. The faith is so huge that about 20% of the religious players on Rathnir belong to the church in some way or another. In order to devote yourself to Solaris and Sylene, you have to be baptized in waters that flow eastward. Now, I called this a church. That's because the Orthodox view, called Erlinen, I think I'm pronouncing that right, has a strict hierarchy. The Emperor is the spiritual leader of the church, and under him exists a system of cardinals, priests, and mystics that uphold the faith to everyday players. There are 3 levels of involvement with Soleannen, ranging from regular everyday followers of the big gods to the elite circle consisting only of the mystic emperors, where they know the real secrets of Rathnir. Only those who know the deep lore truly know the character and tradition of Escharia and Soleannen. Now let's talk holy places, because Soleannen has a really expansive history. I talked earlier about the Void Pit on the island of Tessel, but this is actually more of an unholy place. Early in Escharia's history, there was a brutal war on this nearby island, where Escharians fought the nation of Void worshippers. Soleannen recounts this as Solaris himself being ensnared in the Void Pit, and the Escharians having to go free him and drive out the heathens. Sometimes the pit opens back up, but they do their best to close it and hide it. But sometimes you can't stop it. Now, a really holy place, the Soneakir Cathedral, is the centerpiece of the old capital of Escharia, Lilleanen. This is where they'd hold a bunch of ceremonies, and cardinals would give charity out to the town's inhabitants. You can visit the cathedral in the flooded ruins of Lilleanen, but being broken and destroyed, it's a shadow of the glory it once had. Going really to the west of Rathnir, there was a town called Jerusalem. Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. But this is where Solaris himself appeared to the past emperor Zika Ost and a monk, the current emperor King Zelorm. This was at the site of something like an obsidian Kaaba in the town center, which they then moved to the temple of Il Kabuli in present-day Yimmu Audal. It soon after turned to bedrock and performed many miracles. And lastly, for holy places, stone circles are prominent in Soleannen, especially if they're nature groves or mountains. It's like they're considered to connect our realm with the greater magical and spiritual realm, the Animarium. And I have to talk about a ritual involved here. At one big Stonehenge in Escharia's heartland, on this past January 31st, the most dedicated souls of the Escharian Empire gathered and performed a ritual sacrifice, a sacrifice of themselves. They communally recited a poem and jumped into a pit of fire, supposedly ascending to their afterlife, the Luminarium. This was called the Escharian Ascension. This sacrifice was so monumental, the head of the Escharian Empire was cut off, and the whole thing immediately collapsed. The Eastern Ocean's sea levels rose, destroying the capital of Lilleanen and sinking the island of Tessel to finally defeat the Void God in cosmic battle. The remains of the Ascendant players wandered the old Escharian Empire for weeks and months as spirits, attacking anyone who settled it that didn't submit to Solaris. Generally under the leadership of player Debbie, the spirits would go on to fight all around the world, even conquesting the Maizen and re-establishing the long-lost state of Sewer Mafia. God, this is getting so wacky. Escharia took a long time to reform, but eventually it coalesced back into a familiar successor state, the Asperium Nidea. Soleannen became much more decentralized during this, and the new ideas and traditions began to take hold, and there's a big contrast between the ancient Escharian Soleannen tradition and the new ideas that have been added to the mix. Now, with how widespread Soleannen is, it has a lot of diversity, intentional or not. In Escharia, the church is relatively standardized, and heresy can get people kicked out or killed. But most Soleannen worshippers outside of here worship without using Escharian symbology, architecture, or as much focus on the imperial cult of the Emperor. The most official offshoot of Soleannen is the Soleviel faith, which claims to trace itself back to the ascension of Escharia. It rejects the political unification of Soleannen under the Emperor and heavily emphasizes unity by faith alone. Very Protestant. However, Soleviel still reveres the saints and gods, but not the militaristic saints that are involved with the expansion of the Empire. You can find its center in the town Muviel in the Simulami Empire in Rathnir. I really like this. It's such an organic process of history and motifs and ideas and big events happening. It's what Minecraft religions ought to be.